Ooby-doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. Today, we're going to be looking at Canon lens made in Japan, Canon lens FD 50mm f1.2. Well, I did say I wasn't going to do any more f1.4s. What did I learn from f1.4s is that they are combined with a modern mirrorless camera. It's like having night vision. I mean, I go to places, even towns and main streets have these dark shadows that's hard to see into by eye. But with this combination, it's like turns it into daylight. But why go to a city at night to take pictures to make it look like daylight? So the trick is to take pictures that have detail, but also has information to say, well, this is taken at night, as I've been trying to do. A quick review, I used a Nikon 1.4, Canon 1.4, one Pentax A 1.4, one Super Takumar 1.4, and a Mamiya Seeker 1.4. They all were almost the same. It was the Nikon first, the Canon was a close second, the Pentax and the Saya, the Super Takumar, and the Mamiya Seeker rounded up third place, third, fourth, fifth place. It was a tie. So as far as that goes. So I said, well, you know, why don't I try this 1.2? And there's a town that's only 10 minutes away from me. It's Warwick, but I call it Warlock. And it's a 10-minute drive. So I slept a little late this morning, but luckily it was cloudy. And I got there around 6 o'clock, and it was plenty dark. But of course, as I was walking around, the sky lightened up. And what did I learn? This lens, Canon lens FD 50mm f1.2, is better than a whole lot of them. Less blooming. It had some aberrations, but not as bad as the other ones, really. Considering that it's a stop faster. F1.2, f1.4 to 2.8, like that. So it's a stop faster. It seemed to have better resolution. It seemed to have not as bad blooming. It just seemed to be a sharper lens than the other ones, which of course I was using a different camera. I was using a Nikon Z50. Here I have on the SONY a6000. And I found I had this lens hood, which is a humongous big lens hood, right? And that's helped. I noticed it didn't flare even when I was shooting into lights. So this must have more advanced coatings or something than the other ones. I mean, this is a fantastic lens. Of course, a beat-up version, I mean a really beat-up version, goes for like $110 or something. And a like-new version is double or 2.5 times that. And this is a nice version, really clean. Let's see. Oh, no backlash on the focusing. It stops down the, there's a half f-stop, half f-stop, half f-stop. Well, half f-stops all the way. Even between 1.4 and f2, how about that? No, that's a full f-stop. All right, that's no big deal. It focuses down to 0.5, less than 0.5 meters, which is pretty close to the industry standard. It's a really fantastic lens. I went to this town on January 5th. They still had all their Christmas decorations up. Of all the towns I went to do these nighttime studies of fast lenses, well, there was Morristown. They have their big green, but the stores weren't that festive. And then I went to a couple other towns, and I just wasn't impressed. But I was impressed with Warwick because all the stores still had lights and stuff and Christmas decorations. Not so much the town, but the stores themselves. I've seen some go out of business. It looks like some new ones are coming. There's still the oldies that have been there for a long time. And that's what I like to do, go back to these towns. And I'm glad I did, you know, because I just want to see how does this compare. And it compares better than all the 1.4s I got. This 1.2 beats them all. And of course, stop down at f2 or f8, they're all like close to perfect. So the A6000 has an eye-level viewfinder. It's much lighter and smaller than the Z50. I think it takes better pictures. I don't know why. What I'll have to do with the Z50 is start changing parameters and see if I can get it better. I thought the Z50 was a more modern camera to A6000, but it seems to be a little noisy even at 1000. So that could be a difference too. You know what I'm saying? That would mean you'd have to do a much larger experiment, empirical formulation. You know, take a lens. These lenses are what I did on the Z50, and have to do it on some other camera like the Alpha 6000. But I don't know if I feel like doing that. All I could say is just by going to this town and shooting the same business wide open, I got better results with this than the 1.4s. Of course, you know, the slideshow is following. You could check it out yourself and look and make your own decision. So as far as I'm concerned, don't even bother buying a 1.4. Get like this 1.2. This is the Canon lens FD 50mm. There's a whole bunch of flavor of 1.2s. I guess Canon must have really got into 1.2, and whatever they did it right. I mean, this is a fine lens, and you got to get one. But you're going to need a lens hood. I don't know if that helped or not, but I didn't see any flare at all. Slight blooming. I don't know what to say. It's a really nice lens. But don't take my word for it. There's a slideshow following. Just check it out. January 5th is a Sunday, 2025. And I went to a town called Warwick, even though I call it Warlock. And they still had their Christmas lights up. I mean, you know, the stores are all dressed up and all had Christmas displays in them. And that's more than most other towns. The only other town that has more Christmas spirit, I guess, was Morristown, where they decorate their whole green, which is a little park, sort of like in the center of town. But even most stores, they weren't like all Christmassy looking. And then when I went to Glen Rock was sort of gloomy looking a little bit. So I was surprised when all these stores were all like jazzed up with lights and all Christmas decorations and everything. So I got to check out the Canon 50mm f1.2 new FD. And based on these photos that I took, it beat the crap out of all the f1.4s I got. That's the Nikon, the Nikkor AIS 1.4, the Canon NFD 50mm 1.4, the Pentax A 50mm 1.4, the Super Takamar 50mm f1.4, and the Mamiya Seeker 55mm 1.4. Wide open at 1.2. I was getting better and more consistent results with this thing than any of those other lenses. So, what does that tell you? I don't know. What does that mean? I haven't the faintest idea. You know, I was shocked. I mean, this is just an addendum to my, you know, wide open, low light level period that I'm in. I'm going through this phase. And I said, well, you know, I got this 1.2. Let me see what it's all about. And it is better. You know, Canon back in the day, they designed a whole bunch of f1.2s, and I think they really nailed it. And it's just my opinion that don't buy an f2, don't buy a 1.4, get the Canon 1.2. I mean, if you're into vintage lenses and you're looking for something, you can't beat it. I just thought it was just more contrasty, less blooming, less aberrations, flare resistance was ideal. I was shooting into some lights. I didn't even see any like flare or rays or orbs or anything. So it's a great lens, a really great lens. And you know what? Warwick is this artsy-fartsy tourist town, and they depend on tourism. And I guess they just went all out, making it, you know, stretch the season as long as they can, because their main street is all ethnic eateries, quaint little eateries. Then it's got jewelry stores and these upscale clothing stores and antique stores, stuff of that nature. You know, places where you could sit and watch life go by, bistros, coffee shops, restaurants, taverns. Some stores were going out of business. And what does that mean? Pretty soon there'll be new tenants in there, right? So it's hard, you know, having your own business and all that stuff. absolutely. And you know, this lens, as usual, f1.4 was totally usable. I mean, f1.2 was totally usable, more so than f1.4. And stopped down to 2.8, man, it like jazzed up really good, like really good. But this thing, 1.2, 1.4, 2, 2.8, that's 4 f-stops down. So, of course, you're going to see a market improvement. If you go from 1.4 to 2.8, that's only 3 f-stops. And if you have f2 lens and you go from f2 to 2.8, that's only 1 f-stop. So the more you stop down a lens from open aperture, the better it gets. That's just the way the world we live in. So, but you know, it's a nice lens. You could tell from these results. I did some adjustments. So they had so many lights on this shop. I had to stop the lens down and go to slower shutter speed. I did shoot some wide open too to prove that if you properly expose these point lights, even at f1.2, you'll get really decent results. That a lot of aberrations in blooming you see is because the lens is so damn fast it overwhelms either film or the pixels in your digital camera. So unless the camera has some way of compensating for that, well, those are the results you're going to get. And that just seems like what I'm looking at right here. So, and here's a perfect example. This is f1.2, and I expose for the light, so everything else is dark, and the lights look pretty damn good. They're not perfect, but they're very, very acceptable. So, and it was consistent. I don't know if the other camera has some is doing some stuff, processing the image that enhanced the aberrations in the blooming or not, but that's something I have to look into. But as far as this goes right now, I think the 50 millimeter f1.2, the Canon new FD, you can't beat it. And it's only a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier. You know, I had it on the a6000 and it sort of dwarfs it a little bit. And when you stick that Funkadelic rubber lens hood on it, it looks massive, but it's really not that massive. And it was like 22 degrees out, and the thing worked great. Just here's some time exposures. I always have to do time exposures. You know, this is my artsy-fartsy, how I do things. And how do you be creative? You know, you want to step outside the box of this nighttime Christmas scenes. So I went with it. And maybe f1.2 is too fast. I don't know what to say. And everything's just lit up. And in fact, there's some window scenes where I was stopping on the f8. You know, f16, just to, you know, get not blow out the highlights. Here, look at this is at f8. That's really nice. You know, and then you get the better depth of field, and everything sharpens up nice and neat. This one window, it was like they were like just blasting out with the light. Here's Santa Claus. He's got a red cardinal on his shoulder there. Of course, I had to do a close-up of it. I don't know, is that some sort of tradition or something? Now, this store has been there for a while, and this lamp's been there for at least a year. It's probably big bucks, but it's a very interesting lamp. I sort of like it. And then, like I said, there's all these different clothing stores. This is more like an intimate lingerie place. Oh boy, I wish I had a girlfriend who could wear clothes like that, but you know, what could I say? Maybe I should start working out and I can wear sexy clothes too myself. So from far away, it had a better look than closer up. Oh, here it is, the Flirt Boutique. Yeah, I like that green number, don't you, on the left there? Yeah, some of the stores are really lit up, and I was able to, use a faster shutter speed or stop down a little bit, and then I got much better results. And I'll have to do a side-by-side one day, or put the same lens on one camera, take a picture, then put it on another camera, take a picture. But that would mean, that's a lot of work, especially out in the field, when it's cold or hot or raining or something. And that would have to be a lab test. And I don't know if I want to do a lab test. The whole idea of these pictures is I went someplace, I want to take these, use this lens wide open at f1.2, and these are results that you could expect to get. They're going to take a lot of pictures. Some of them are going to come out good. Some may be just slightly off. If this lens was easy to focus. Yeah, I had a mirrorless camera and I used a live view magnifier. And as soon as, I don't know, why was this one better? Is it just a better lens? I'm not going to go out and buy 2 or 3 of the same one just to see if they're consistent. That's up to you people to do. And then some people say, yeah, I got a great copy. Some say, oh, mine's a dog. So I just randomly buy lenses too. And they're either good or bad. But of course, this whole range of f1.4s I did, they were very consistent, wide open, with a lot of blooming. You see this picture? This picture was so dark, I couldn't see any detail that was along the river there. That's how dark it is. But this thing is a night vision system. At f1.2 and 1000, you're going to see stuff that you ain't going to see by eye. And I eat carrots every day. Yeah, what's up, duck? So, you know, and then look at this light bulb. There's no real flare there or anything. I saw no evidence of flare in this lens, which like totally freaked me out. Totally. Yeah, it's a nice lens. I could highly recommend it. This is the way to go. Unless you want to be small and discreet and carry light, yeah, then you buy a 50mm f2. But if you want to have an all-purpose lens, you can't do any better than the Canon new FD 50mm f1.2. Man, this is a good lens. I like it. In fact, I should toss all my 1.4s and just keep this bad boy. So that's just the way it looks out. Of course, that's just my opinion, and I could be full of BS. So your mileage may vary, and but go for it. Go get one.